Welcome to another episode of Agent versus Lender. And today we have with us Rick Southwick he's the Utah broker at eXp Realty. Is that right, Rick?
Yes, that's correct, Ron.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us how you got started in real estate. Just tell us who you are.
Well, at heart, if I could do it, what I would love to do most, I'd be a full-time ski bum. Skiing's one of my passions, and mountain biking. So I live, you and I live close by, quick access to the trails and the foothills, and I've got a locker at Snow Basin, so I can be there quickly and get a few runs in my spare time. But I graduated from Weber State, got into real estate kind of accidentally, helping a fraternity brother who was already licensed. Discovered really quickly I couldn't do very much without a license. Took the crash course and got licensed in about 10 days. And I've been in real estate ever since. I've been fortunate to be with three great companies. I worked with the Weber family at Coldwell Banker for a number of years. Then I was a partner in the first successful Keller Williams office, KW Success in South Ogden. I was there for a number of years. And then when I found this opportunity to open eXp Realty for Utah, jumped on it because I saw all the great things they had innovated and were planning. And it was a real small company at the time, but I thought it had a lot of potential. So I jumped at that opportunity. So I've been listing and selling here in northern Utah for over 30 years. And
so you've seen a few things, man. 30 years.
Yeah.
I've been in a little over 25.
I was just saying, I thought you were as long as me. So
yeah. So I was gonna say it's rare that I find somebody that's been in longer than I have that's still active. But I got in, and so yeah. Anyway, yeah. So good to see that you're still here and still doing well.
And I'm still enjoying it and having fun. People talk about retiring, and I'm like, why? I love what I do, and this is a great business. So
yeah, awesome. So I'm going to switch it up on you a little bit. Let's talk, because you've been at different offices, some really good offices too, by the way, and they were fortunate to have you as part of their team. So let's talk a little bit about teams versus working on your own, because now you don't have a team, you haven't built a team that you work with, but you have had a team in the past. So tell us a little bit about the pros and cons of each of them and why you decided to go the way you have after so many years in the business.
Well, I had a successful small team in my KW days, and then when the recession hit and kind of the bottom dropped out of everything, it didn't work any longer. The market slowed so dramatically, and people weren't. It just wasn't working. So I had to pivot, cut overhead.
You probably had salary people.
I had two full-time assistants and actually a buyer's agent who was on salary, and for a number of years that worked really well for both of us. She made me more money than I paid, and she had a guaranteed income. But that all changed at the height of that. I think I had 4 buyer's agents. I was doing all the listings, and the 2 administrative persons. So it was, there was a lot of outgo every month, and so I kind of downsized that. I was involved with board leadership at the time. So I've always had an assistant, and for a while those were college students. The person I have working with me right now is now licensed and does some business on her own, and we've been together for 6 years, and she's really a business partner. For a lot of people, I think you need to, at least from my perspective, look at the bottom line and what are you netting. I mean, there are some huge teams out there. They're doing really impressive numbers when you look at sales volume and everything else. But at the end of the day, what I think matters is what do we take home? And so if you're doing huge volumes, but you're not netting a whole lot. I can remember when I first started doing coaching and training with Mike Ferry, he didn't spend a lot of time talking about net. And I remember the big agents that were, doing $1 million in commissions. And when you dug into it, they probably were netting less than 10% of that, which is still not a bad income, but it's a lot of stress and brain damage. So from my perspective, teams work really well for buyer's agents. If it's a successful team and they can provide you good leads, that's a win. And I like kind of the more personal touch. I like to be, my business is primarily relationship driven. I have a lot of repeat clients that have worked with me 4, 5, 6, 7. I think my top clients have bought and sold with me 7 times. And I value those relationships, try and take great care of those people. And, I think it's the kind of thing, there's plenty of room in this for everybody, but I think it's a mistake for somebody to try and kill themselves to build a big team if they want a simple, productive, profitable life. You can do it pretty well as a solo agent or with an assistant, maybe even one. And I think, frankly, you can probably do just as well referring buyers to other agents rather than trying to manage it all on a team. I'm sure there are a lot of people that would disagree with me, but I think you can have a really successful life and some balance in it, selling 30, 40, 50 homes a year and doing that without a big team. The groups that do hundreds of homes a year and tens of millions, kudos to them. That's an accomplishment. It's at this stage of the game, I'm happy with a simpler system and a good net bottom line.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned balance. So even I'm gonna bring in the perspective from the mortgage side of it on teams and working on your own. I remember when I was just pretty much on my own, and I would do 3, 4 loans a month. And it was full-time work, man. And then they started piling on. Then after 2007, after that crash hit, they started pouring on more regulations. And to this day, they're pouring on more regulations. And so it got to be this big animal that was hard to manage and became more and more frustrating to manage and took more time. And so I got with a coach and we talked about that. And so I did start building a team. I hired one person and hired somebody to take it. And in probably in real estate, your first hire would be a transaction coordinator, I would imagine, just to take off some of that paperwork stuff, because I'm like, probably you as well as I am we're more of a relationship, more of a, I don't want to say sales guy, but we want to go out and talk to people and we want to interact with people. And I get bogged down with whenever I am trying to do that behind the scenes paperwork stuff. Are you the same way or do you like that?
No, I'm really not. I mean, I'm detailed when it comes to negotiating contracts and writing contracts and that sort of thing. But the compliance side of it and the tracking all the dates. I mean, my assistant, my transaction coordinator, my business partner, that's her forte. So we make sure we get all that taken care of. But it's the kind of thing where, I mean, when I calculate when I'm doing what I'm best at, and that's meeting with people and listing homes and negotiating contracts, I can make an incredible living. I think I make better. I earn up there with probably the best lawyers and things like that. I don't make that when I'm doing detail paperwork, trying to input something into MLS, things like that. So if you can leverage it, if you can either have free time or doing productive time and you can compensate somebody else for those hourly activities, it's a win-win. Yeah,
I totally agree, man. It's like, when you start making, whether it's $50, whether it's $200 an hour, $100 an hour, $50 an hour, it doesn't matter. When you start making some decent money, and you start looking at taking that time, your time, to do some of those, I have to be careful because I call them menial tasks, but they're important tasks. But there are things that don't warrant $50 or $100 or $200 an hour. It's just like, if you can get somebody for $15 an hour, then pay them the $15 and free up your time to go get another listing or go talk to another buyer or get up on the slope for a couple of hours. That's money well spent. So I think you hit that nail on the head. Don't pay yourself $15 an hour to do those things when you really should be doing the tasks, the things that are actually bringing in the deals.
No, absolutely. And I think right now where we're at, where a lot of people are struggling and out of work, and the restaurant service industries are all struggling, I've kind of taken a whole new look at when I am able to go out and eat or get takeout and stuff. It's like, I realize there's kind of this dual economy going on right now, and people like you and me are still we're able to work, and we haven't been shut down, and we can do a lot of we're providing essential services, we're providing housing, and that's important. But for all these people that are out there that are really, really struggling, I'm more generous consciously with tipping and things like that, because I know that, it used to be like, was that good service or not? And today I'm like, thank you for, providing me a meal, and I hope this helps, and tipping generously, and just kind of that law of abundance that the more I can give out, the more it's going to come back, and the more it's going to help other people. And I actually put out a thing a little bit ago on Facebook, and I didn't originate it, but I saw it from some other people, and I wanted to emulate because I thought it was really, really the right thing to do. This has been a good year in real estate. It's been stressful, and there's a lot of boredom, and because we can't go out and do all the stuff and see the people we like to see, but it's still been, financially, materially, a pretty blessed year. And I know there are people out there that are out of work and struggling. So I put a thing out there of, hey, if you need help with groceries or whatever, reach out to me, and do it quietly, and nobody needs to know. I'm in a position I can help, and I want to help. I've actually had more people reach out and say, hey, I want to put some money towards this and send me checks. Then we've helped several families that with kind of nice amounts of grocery money and Christmas money, and I'm still waiting to hear from some more people, hopefully. And then I've been amazed at what the rescue mission in some of these places, they can provide a meal for under $2. So I'm like, wow, let me contribute there and help some people out in that way. So
so for anybody that's listening to this, if you want to help Rick out, give him a call, man, because that's such a good cause. So I appreciate you taking the time out of your day, because a lot of people think, I'm doing well. I'm just going to go on my merry way, and so I'm glad that you're doing that. So good for you, Rick.
Thanks, Ron.
So we talked a little bit about the differences between teams working on their own. I've worked on my own. I actually like a team, but I have a team behind me. There's no way I could do what I'm doing today without my team. And you're right. Some days there are some months when I go, man, that salary that I have to cover, and that overhead that I have to cover, it worries me a little bit. But we're really conscientious about it. So it's worked out really well for me. But the main thing for me is that it's freed up time. The time that I free up is like invaluable for me. So as I get, a little bit more gray hair, some of us still have hair. That's right. So as I get, you're probably in that same boat with me. It's just like, I want to spend more time with family. I want to spend more time. I don't want to spend it all in my business. And so there's a cost for me to do that. And so I have my team, which is an incredible team. And so they take care of me and so that I can get out and do some of those kind of things. So that's one of the benefits for me. And you're at home today.
Yeah, I'm pretty much home every day. We're the brokerage I work with, we're a cloud-based company, and so I can work from anywhere. And so I've finished off an office at home, and this is where I run everything from. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm in my it was a kind of a challenge and a shift, but it's become a pretty nice way to live and work.
Yeah, I'm in my office. I don't come to my office every day. I work from home a lot too, but I'm in my little podcast studio here. And so tell me the advantage. Why? So I know your company is kind of set up that way. And about 3 years ago, my whole team decided to go remote. And so all of them work from home. So we still have an office, just not as big as we used to have. And it's worked really well. Because in our industry, both mortgage and real estate, we can go, everything is digitally signed these days. So we don't necessarily have to sit across the desk, shake hands or bump elbows or whatever we do now. So tell me how that's worked to your advantage working from home.
It was interesting because when I left the previous brokerage and launched EXP in Utah, I had always gone to the office and I was pretty disciplined about that. And I kind of felt like that was part of my success was I had a routine. I went to work and did everything from the office. So it was kind of a big transition. When I realized after a little while that if you're working from a home or working remotely, it's just a different set of distractions. Instead of having the non-producing agent who hangs out at the office all the time and drinks coffee and eats donuts, stick his head or her head in your door and want to chew the fat for what turns into 15, 30 minutes, I might get up and do something around the house that needs to be done, or I might just get up and walk out with the dog and go. So it's just a different set of distractions.
Sure. Yeah.
It's the same challenge of staying focused and doing productive work when you need to do it. But it's for me, I know some people, I have agents that haven't come and joined us because I can't work from home. I need an office, And there are plenty of places where you can use shared space, or if you really want an office, you can certainly buy an office condo or buy your own building, do whatever. I've just realized that for me, that's an overhead and an expense that that's money I'm putting in my pocket now instead of paying to the brokerage that I was previously with. So again, I'm a much better manager of money today than I was as a new agent. And I think that's one of the challenges of the businesses that we're in. I think you guys in the mortgage world, you guys had, I think the feds made most of you guys be on salary and stuff, and you can't do the commission that we're still able to do. And that created some whole tax challenges and everything. But, as a newer agent, when I got those lump sums and stuff, it was like, holy cow, I'm really in great shape. And I manage the money a heck of a lot better today and control my expenses. And I'm really working hard to eliminate every debt I can and be debt free and live that nice net life. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. So housing's an interesting thing these days. It's like, back in 2007, the markets were crashing in on us and you couldn't give a house away. Houses were sitting on the market forever. And today you can't keep them listed for more than a day or two, or, maybe it slowed down a little bit, maybe a week. So tell me where you think housing is today versus before we went into COVID.
Well, we kind of had that initial slowdown, and we were fortunate in the state of Utah that the realtors were able to lobby the governor and the legislature and make sure that the industry was designated as essential services. So we were able to continue to, with caution, practice what we do and provide housing for people. There are a number of states where they were completely shut down for weeks or months. I know New Mexico now is currently under a shutdown, and it just doesn't make any sense. And it's really hurting lots of people. But we have this shortage of inventory across the country right now, like I don't think we've ever seen in the last 30 plus years. And a lot of it goes back to lack of new construction during the recession. And then in places like Utah, we have people moving here. I think people are leaving the West Coast in droves, and they're coming into Utah. They're coming into Nevada. Tons of people moving into Texas. People are going to Florida because of the advantages of taxation there versus the Northeast. So we're seeing this shift around the country. People ask, or they talk about, are we going to have a crash next year in real estate? And I think absolutely not, especially here in Utah. We've got this huge imbalance. It's, I feel for everybody right now. It's a challenge as an agent. You guys, the mortgage industry, still looks like it's really robust with refinances going on and with purchases. But, if you're a buyer, particularly a first-time buyer, there's 10, 20, 50 offers on an entry level property. So it's not a lot of fun. And, if you're a buyer needing an FHA, a VA, Utah housing loan, it's hard to compete against a cash buyer or an out-of-state buyer that's got a nice big down payment. So
yeah,
it's a challenge. It's a struggle. We've got issues at the municipal level with how fast we can get subdivisions and development approved. You've got one of the biggest challenges, and we see it here locally, and I see it on the planning commission that I serve on. Anytime there's a new development, not in my backyard. No, we don't want the density. We don't want this. And it's like, it's like development's a dirty word. Well, if you live in a home or an apartment today, you live there because somebody developed that. It's no longer a farmer's field or, a scrub oak area. Somebody took the risk and created something that you now live in. And that's what we need for our kids and for our grandkids. And, renters, being a renter is not a dirty word. Just about every one of us started out as a renter, and we're decent people. And, there's a few bad apples no matter where you go. But, man, we need more apartments. We need more condos. We need more single family homes. We need more patio homes. So, everybody out there needs to chill out. And then the other problem we've got is materials costs and everything else. I mean, a 2x4 tripled this year, so the challenge of the numbers of homes and then affordable housing. And that's what makes, Utah and the rest of this country so wonderful is our private property system. And we need these housing units for people to rent and to buy. That's how, for the vast majority of us, that's how we build wealth. That's how we take care of our families. It's the founding, it's not the stock market. I mean, the stock market's another option, but whether the world's in chaos or booming, having a roof over your head matters. And, I guess that's one of the things I just love about this world that we're both in, the, mortgage and real estate, but really helping people find a place to live and invest and whatever your household composition looks like, grow that, raise a family, have a career. I mean, I've been doing this long enough that I've seen friends and clients that were starting out, and now they've gone from that first home into something else, and some of them are ready to retire. But it's such a core part of our communities. I guess it's what I really what I love about it is it's just interwoven with everything we do. So, home matters, and
Yeah.
Sorry, I kind of got wound up.
No, that's
I'm
okay.
passionate about it. I'm,
No, that's perfect. Yeah. So the housing. So, funny thing is housing is no matter what happens, whether, you go into a recession, you go into something, everybody still needs a roof over their heads. Everybody. So what you said about building wealth to me is almost secondary. Although for a lot of us in good times, that's a primary concern. We want to buy some additional. We want to buy investment properties. We want to buy some of those kind of things. But for some of us, it's just like we just want to buy a house, and and if we go into a recession, that's going to be one of the last things that goes. I mean, you're probably going to get rid of your second car, and you're going to get rid of some other things before you get rid of your house. Because then if you get rid of your house, then what are you going to do? Now you're going to go rent, and rents aren't any cheaper. Rents are sometimes more expensive. So
that's probably my biggest worry for people going into next year. There's those federal eviction moratoriums, and they're people that just are not able to work because of COVID. And if they get evicted, I don't know where they're going to go. I mean, there aren't any vacancies. I really worry that if Congress doesn't do some stuff and we don't get these vaccines out fast enough and get things back on track, that we're going to have a whole bunch of people thrown out on the streets, and I don't know where they're going to go. I mean,
the bad thing about these eviction moratoriums and the forbearance programs it's just like, I think some of the people that are taking advantage of those are thinking that, well, you can't evict me, so now I'm going to just behave badly in all different circumstances. And so they're going to get, even if they're caught up, even if they can get caught up. So going back to the forbearance thing, if they don't get caught up, they're going to be behind, and now it's going to hit their credit. And then if they're behaving badly, whether it's an agent or whether it's a landlord or whether it's a company that's managing that property, they're probably not going to give them much of a break because they've been behaving badly. And then they're not going to get a good reference. So they're not going to have references. They're going to have hits on their credit because of this. You're right. They're going to have a real tough go of finding any place to go. So I'm really worried here very shortly as to how many of those people are going to be affected and what they're going to do.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that's different now versus the recession is most people who own a home, even if they get into a jam, they've got equity. The data that I'm seeing suggests that there's not going to be massive amounts of foreclosures. And for the few that might end up in that circumstance, they can probably sell and salvage some equity and move forward. And I don't think, housing is one of the strengths of the economy right now. It's not the bubble. We don't have all those 100% financing loans that were around back predating the recession.
Well, we do have some 100% financing, but pre-recession, it was like if you have a heartbeat, you could fog a mirror, man.
Right. The guidelines are a lot stricter. You've got to be a much stronger borrower today to get that type of loan. So hopefully we've learned some lessons from that. And we won't have a repeat. So
yeah. So this has actually been really good, Rick. So I'm going to go back to your brokerage a little bit for a minute. just because you just piqued my interest a little bit when you were talking a little bit about you and why you are on your own versus having a team now. And I think you said that there was some things your brokerage does a little bit different than maybe some others that could help out that agent that just doesn't want to do the team and just, they've maybe cut their teeth already and doesn't need that team mentality to mentor them for a while or to provide those leads. Or I don't know, maybe I'm taking some to telling you what you're going to tell me, but tell us what some of those things that are different about your brokerage.
Well, I mean, eXp Realty, that is the company that I'm the broker for the state of Utah. Actually, we have some huge teams and we support teams just like every other company does. In fact, some of the biggest teams from KW and some of the other companies have joined us because we offer so much more to the agents. We just had the #1 team with Remax in Canada join, a guy who has done billions in sales. I mean, he's got a nationwide team there. And we've had a lot of independent brokers come and join us because they're tired of owning a brokerage and running a brokerage. Some of the things that are different about eXp, we're a publicly traded company. We're traded on NASDAQ. And so all of our agents have the opportunity to buy discounted stock with part of their commissions. There's a half dozen different ways that agents get stock awards. If you cap, our cap is pretty competitive with most other companies' caps, but when you cap and then go to 100%, you get a stock award. If you do another 20 plus transactions on top of that in the 12-month cycle, you become an icon agent and you're eligible to have up to your entire cap awarded back to you in stock that then vests 3 years later.
Wow, that's cool.
So those stock awards are pretty significant. So you can almost end up netting 100% with us through these various programs. We also have a revenue sharing program that kind of shares multiple levels for agents who help grow the company by attracting other agents. So we really have the opportunity to create a half dozen different streams of income for an agent who does nothing different than what they were doing at any other brokerage. And so there's a legitimate opportunity to build a retirement, to have an exit strategy, to build wealth. I mean, and the stock has done extremely well. It's no different than any other stock. It goes up, it goes down. But as the company has grown over the past 9 years, it's gone from a penny stock to being listed on NASDAQ. And so we have people, I saw it, I watched a post last night of a guy in Atlanta, and he and his wife had just sold enough stock to pay off their mortgage. Nice. Since they joined eXp. So good for them. It's really changing people's lives. So one of the things I'm trying to do is get in business with a lot of good agents who are good at selling real estate, but maybe they want to have some additional opportunities. So if anybody's out there that would love to hear, more about what we offer, I'd love to share it. We have a virtual platform that we own the company, and they're doing. It's a company called Virbela, and it's essentially similar to a gaming platform, and we actually hold national and international meetings on that. Everyone has an avatar. That's how we hold our state sales meetings. We do trainings through that. That Virbela is being used by the NBA to provide meetings. They're actually doing concerts in Virbela. The Department of Defense is using the Virbela. So it's really a kind of a neat platform that adds value to the company, and it's a great way for our agents to work and collaborate. Our staff we're supporting 40,000 agents in 8 countries now with about 700 staff people. the guy who processes our commissions for the agents here in Utah, he's a Marine veteran, lives in El Paso, Texas. So I can walk into our virtual office and talk with him. That virtual platform is more responsive. I can find the staff I need when I need them, much easier than trying to walk down the hall and find them in a physical office. So it's really kind of a cool collaborative environment, and it's benefiting a lot of agents and really changing lives in
Cool.
ways.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks for asking about that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've known Rick for quite a few years, and he's a good friend of mine. And so and because he's a good friend of mine, I want to help him out. But I wouldn't have him on, even if he was a friend, if he really wasn't doing what he said he was doing. So I would recommend him to call him, man. If you're looking, and whether you're in Utah, obviously if you're in Utah, he's like over the state of Utah. He's the Utah broker for HP. But even if you're in another state, call him and he'll get you hooked up with who you need to talk to get going.
That's one of the other interesting things about this company and about our structure, Ron, is we've got agents that are building networks through the revenue sharing program that literally, I mean, it's building a team with no overhead and no responsibility nationally and internationally. We're in Australia, we're in South Africa, we just opened in India, France, Portugal. I mean, it's really exciting to see what's going on. And we opened in 5 countries this fall, doing it all virtually. No EXP staff people flew anywhere. I was astounded. I really thought they'd have to slow down, and actually they've been doing more because with COVID, this virtual platform just facilitates a much more efficient way to transact business and build teams.
Yeah. So, if there's any a bright spot out of COVID, that's definitely one of them. I think businesses are realizing we don't need all this office space. We don't need this overhead. There's so much that we can accomplish. And my team included, we're all virtual. I'm like one of the few people on the team that actually comes to the office. Nobody else wants to come. But I have some in other states too. So part of my team is also in other states. But most people that are doing financing with us would never know that unless
no, it's seamless.
Know that.
You can.
So it's cool. Well, Rick, how would people get hold of you if they want to talk to you? I can see it right there. I can see it right.
Yeah. My cell, you can call or text me at 801-391-7425. My email is rick.southwick@exprealty.com. So there's all kinds of ways to connect, but and the other thing that we've developed as a company is we've got a very robust mentor program for new agents and an entire training series that's cloud-based for new agents. So
I didn't know that. So that's good to know.
Yeah. And we actually have, I think, over 70 hours of live training in EXP World, the virtual platform, every week. So we have our top agents, the icon agents, are teaching classes and doing panels on a weekly basis. And the company mindset and the company culture, because everybody has some ownership in the company, and the more successful that every one of our agents is, it adds value to the company and stock. So you talk to an EXP agent and they will tell you all their secrets, everything they're doing, what's working well, how they do their business, whether it's, an REO or new construction or multi-unit or beachfront condos, whatever they're doing, they will tell you what works, what doesn't work. It's the most collaborative environment I've ever been in. And it's just another kind of fun thing.
That's awesome. Yeah. So if you need to get hold of Rick, give him a call, and also So I think that'll wrap it up. Do you have anything else you want to?
No, Ron, thanks for the opportunity to get together and to talk about what's going on.
Yeah, appreciate you being here.
I know you've been doing this a long time, and you're deliver great service and take good care of people. So Ron's a star in the mortgage world, and great fun to see you and appreciate the time and
Yeah, appreciate you being here, Rick. So if you want to get hold of any of me or my team, the best way to do that is just call 801-628-7667. And by the way, we can lend in all 50 states. So, if you're an agent or a consumer that wants to talk to us, it doesn't matter what state you're in. We can help you no matter where you're at. In the United States, we're not like Rick. We're not in other countries, but we are here in all 50 states. So that'll wrap up this session of Agent versus Lender, and we will catch you again next week.